One of the most controversial issues anywhere, really, is publicly funded stadiums for professional sports teams. But here in Maricopa County in Arizona, there is a rift between the County Board of Supervisors and the Diamondbacks that's been making big news. So Clint Hickman from the County Board of Supervisors, the chairman actually.
Chairman this year, yeah.
So you would know the official county stance on this. I mean, what happened? Because the big news was one of the supervisors had a pretty heated public argument with management and ownership of the Diamondbacks. And then we heard possibly you're going to sell the stadium. Can you kind of fill in the blanks there for us?
Yeah, you say rift, we say disagreement. These are very large entities. You've got the county taxpayer on one side, and you have the Arizona Diamondbacks, you know, in their branding, Arizona. So this thing was brewing probably before I was appointed to the board 3 years ago. There was some issues that were bubbling up to the surface, and then it just kind of hit the public skids about 6 months ago. The Diamondbacks, and it became known that there were issues under that facilities use agreement that we've lived with for many years, 18 I think to be exact, 1996 I believe. But I think consistently it's been the county's position, you know, the Diamondbacks are here because the County Board of Supervisors many years ago decided to help with building a facility, and that enticed Major League Baseball to grant a franchise to Arizona. With that, the deal has been so well structured that it doesn't really give us a whole lot of room to move, both the Diamondbacks or the county taxpayer. So this all brewed to the surface. The Diamondbacks felt that there needs to be more stuff in that stadium to make it more competitive for their team. The county says we don't have the money to provide that stuff. What we do have is the ability to keep the stadium in ship shape. I think you've walked into the stadium.
It's beautiful.
It is beautiful. It's a beautiful stadium. Where else do you play with a natural grass field, air conditioning, in Arizona heat in August?
So, but I guess, correct me if I'm wrong, their position is that in the contract you are supposed to maintain and repair.
Correct.
And so the things
that is true. That's exactly what we need to do.
And the things that they want, that they're calling maintenance and repair, you disagree are maintenance and repair. New scoreboard and things like that.
Wants and needs. Where is the industry gone? Hey, we need to keep up with where the industry's gone. We said, hey, this industry was identified in 1998 to get the stadium built. So we are going to make sure as a county board, as a stadium district, that place is going to be a safe place and an enjoyable place to watch baseball. It's up to the Diamondbacks, though, to bring up to their own industry standards, of which we have no control of. And we have no fiscal or financial capacity to do it. The money that goes into the stadium is paid by the Diamondbacks for rent. But you look at other stadiums and what teams get for rent or non-rent. I'm not going to saddle the taxpayer with that type of burden to have the most bright, shiny things.
So when you look at the relationship as it stands now, is there going to be some kind of a resolution? I mean, there's a contract in place, but is there going to be a resolution between the county, or are you going to end up selling that facility, do you think?
Oh, I don't know where it goes. Our board stepped out a decision to put the stadium for sale, and that was something that possibly we can do within that facilities use agreement. That was a lot of murderous legal meetings that we had as a board trying to figure out what is the best way to go to market. There was a unsolicited bid for the stadium that arrived on one of my colleagues, Steve Chukri's desk to be specific, and he asked me, should I run this down? Yeah, for the taxpayer, absolutely we should run that down. Run it to ground and see where it takes us, and that's where we're at right now. The Diamondbacks are now, I hope, talking to that group to bring private industry into the stadium business here in Arizona.
So there's a possibility, and this is where the discrepancy was, because we keep hearing the $60 million price tag, and so we looked at the facility, was it $300 and some million to build?
Yeah.
You think if that's what it cost to build, today's value would be $500 million to build it. Not
Sure.
saying it's worth that now, but it would be.
Sure, if it was a house and you put in all the things,
Yeah.
Sure. Is it real estate with a house? But the problem with the stadium is most of us look at it as maybe this is not really a house. It's a leased car. You have one owner that can use it. It's a single-use facility. So that's where we need to figure out what it is. Is it a leased car? Or is it a beautiful gleaming house that has gone up in value? We don't know. So if the Diamondbacks choose to talk to this private firm, we'll all find out together. What is it? So that's the appraisal process.
Okay.
And that's what's going to be looked at if the Diamondbacks want to negotiate with this company.
All right, well, I want to talk about that part of it, because then the $60 million base price was the no less than. Where could it go, and then what would be in the best interest of the taxpayer? So take a quick break. When we get back, more on this, because publicly funded stadiums, I am a big proponent of professional sports. I think it adds to our community, but at what cost to the taxpayer has always been our big argument. So we'll be right back. All right, we're back. With us is Clint Hickman. He is from the County Board of Supervisors in Maricopa County, and I appreciate you coming down and talking about this issue.
Oh, my pleasure.
It's a big issue for me because I am a big proponent of professional sports. I think they add to the community. I think kids playing sports is a big deal. I think kids should be involved in those kinds of things. And then they've got someone to look up to and go to games, and it's great. I think it's as valuable to our community as parks and libraries and everything else. But at what cost? Is that what you wrestle with? Do you believe that there's some room for a publicly funded stadium if it's right for the taxpayers, or do you think it just should never happen, personally?
Look, it's happened very well for some communities, and it hasn't happened very well for others. You've got a sea change going on. Jerry Jones owns his own stadium. But then you also have things that are going on in Milwaukee with the Milwaukee Bucks, where it's kind of a private-public partnership. This deal will be the first of its kind that I'm aware of, where a public facility is sold to a private interest in order to create an economic opportunity. Now, we wouldn't be just talking to people. We vetted out this group. We're not, as one of my colleagues says, shaking hands with a ghost. We have vetted out. They seem to know what they are doing. Their attorney has written a book about stadium and stadium facilities and public. So I think we're going down a correct track for the county taxpayer.
So the $60 million price tag, we talked about it before. That was a base price of no less than, and I kept thinking $60 million is a cheap price for that. So you're actually going to have someone that's going to do an evaluation, an appraisal of the value, but then isn't part of the value of the facility how much money they can get back in rent? They're going to have to get an agreement from the Diamondbacks on rent for an extended period of time.
Absolutely.
To make it valuable for them, because you're going to lose all those dates in that building if they leave.
Well, yeah, we don't want to see Chase Field become the new Veterans Memorial Coliseum that sits out there, open for use that nobody uses. There's other facilities like where the Coyotes currently play, and that have the ability to put on concerts. One right in downtown Phoenix with whatever they call it now, where the Suns play. I forget.
Talking Stick Arena?
I guess that would be the one. However, we need to do something, and this is the perfect time to look at it. We want to make sure that we keep the Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks are signed up to 2028. We want to see somebody have the ability to keep the Diamondbacks here, not only to 2028, but beyond.
Right.
I think it's going to be an absolute magnet for a company to come in, work with the Diamondbacks, because don't forget, the Diamondbacks have first right of refusal on this deal. The Diamondbacks, even right now, can say, no deal, we won't want any part of it. Then we have to determine, how do we make the Diamondbacks happy, but how the central point is how to protect the taxpayer while doing it. That's my job. So we hope that we can come to an agreement of some sort. Is this the agreement? I hope so, but if it's not, we need to keep working towards that. They're a valuable part of this community. The Diamondbacks do so many great things for the community. My kids are proud to wear in their Little League Diamondbacks. They sponsor the Litchfield Park Little League. I want to keep that going for the county taxpayer, but we also got to be prudent.
Yeah, my oldest lives in Buckeye, and the Craig Council field. Remember when that baseball field when he played for the Diamondbacks is out there. So they do. A lot of the sports franchises do, but there's such a backlash from the taxpayer when you say you've got millionaires and billionaires that are getting publicly financed stadiums when they could be doing it with their own money. But I don't know that that's reality, because if you don't in some way pony up, they will go someplace that will.
Yes, that is the absolute truth. You're seeing what things swirling around with the Coyotes right now. The Suns are giving it a break.
Rams are going to L.A.
Rams are going to L.A. The Cardinals are currently in Glendale. There has not been one West Valley community since this started that are clamoring and saying, Clint, oh my gosh, send the Diamondbacks to Surprise, Peoria, or whatever. The whole world has changed when it comes to publicly financed stadiums. They are going to a different model. As one of my colleagues, Denny Barney, as a matter of fact, said, the whole business has changed. Baseball wants to play in a TV studio now. Chase Field is an awfully large TV studio. But so what we have to do is do the best that we can with the central obligation of protecting the Maricopa County taxpayer.
All right, so the last question would be any kind of an idea of a timeline of when we can have some expectations of some of these answers. Valuation, Diamondbacks conversation, any timeline at all?
The timeline is our board unanimously voted to sign an LOI, a letter of interest agreement, saying, hey Diamondbacks, we are fine. We want you to talk to this private equity or private investment firm. That is where it's at now. The Diamondbacks and this firm can talk. It is a ticking time clock. We can't let this deal go on forever and ever. So somebody has to, at some point, negotiate fairly. And the great thing is the taxpayer, it'll come back to find out if an agreement can be signed and we can get on down the road.
Well, I appreciate you coming and spending some time here. You know, it's good to see someone that's got a family business as long as you've been here on the Board of Supervisors, because you've got such a lifetime investment in the community, and so to kind of give back in government is, I think, the way it should be.
If I have just a little bit of time with that, Mike, let's save that for another day. But
Okay.
I'm a public servant through and through. Our family does give back, and that also includes my time devoted to this cause.
All right, Clint Hickman, Chairman of the County Board of Supervisors. We'll be back.